Code and the California Attorney General opinion are consistent in language and opinion in that the mayor appoint while the city council ratifies the appointment. Therefore, the staff recommends that the mayor appoint, subject to approval of the majority of the council, to fill the 3 open seats, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so just for clarification, we have gone back and forth. You can sit down. Thank you. So how we're doing this, we do this in a democracy way. I'm gonna invite each one of you up to speak, or the city clerk will announce the name to come up. I'll give you 3 minutes each to introduce yourself, say whatever you want to say to the council. Council will then have a little Q&A with you back and forth until we are done. Then I'll have the city clerk pass out a ballot that has all your names. Each council person and the mayor will select who they like best. The city clerk will then pass the documents back to our city attorney, and he will count the ballots. And if it's unanimous, we have 3 highest numbers. They will be selected as the choice for the mayor for my appointments, and then the council and we will ratify that vote. Should there be a tie, then of course it's going to come back, and we're just going to keep on voting until we get this resolved. All righty? Anybody have any questions before we get started? Good. Okay. And then, of course, we will have some public comment. Is there anybody at this time that has requested to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. IT, anybody?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, Madam Clerk, if you want to start the process, I'm calling up our candidates.
Catherine M. Espinosa.
And folks, this is relax. Come on up, Catherine. Be relaxed, please. We're not drilling you here. We want you to be comfortable, okay? We are family. This is the city of Paris, and we want to do our best to select those planning commissioners. Planning commission is an important role in our city, but I don't want you to be stressed up there and oh my God, what am I going to, just relax, okay? Don't be nervous. Go ahead.
I do have one question.
Oh, take your mask off, please, there,
Okay.
so we can hear you good.
That's what the question was, if I could take off my
Yes,
mask.
absolutely.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Catherine Espinoza. I'm 22.
Catherine, lower put your mic down so closer to you. There you go.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Catherine Espinoza. I'm 22 years old, and I'm going to be graduating from UCLA this upcoming week with a degree in linguistics and computer science. I believe I'm qualified for this position because I've been an active member of my community since high school. Through high school, I attended Rancho Verde High School, and I joined the Hermanos Unidos Club and even volunteered at the Paris Boys and Girls Club for a bit. And also, I was in the middle college high school program, so because of that, I was able to join some clubs at the Moreno Valley College campus, such as the Human Services Clubs, which gave me more involvement in the community throughout Paris and Moreno Valley. And outside of school, I volunteered at the Riverside University Health System Medical Center for a little while before I left college. But the biggest involvement in high school that I was in was being involved with the Rancho Verde Marching Band. Through that, I was able to attend a bunch of community events such as the Paris Christmas Parade. And till this day, I'm still good friends with the band director, Hanna Katuk, and would come back to practices or band camps to help out whenever they needed. And then once I left to UCLA, I was still an active member within my community, just over there in LA, and I joined the Hermanas Unidas Club, which gave me more sense of community, and I was able to help out the Latin community by going to visit hospitals or volunteering my time in elementaries. And through another organization called ACM, Association for Computing Machinery, I was able to volunteer my time at local elementary schools and teach kids how to code. And I believe I have a better understanding of the youth community and can represent them, especially when it comes to political standpoints. And I hope to inspire those who are in the same position as me who may feel underqualified or too young to pursue those roles. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Council, if you could please use the queue so I can call you up each when you're ready to speak. First up is Councilwoman Rogers.
Good evening, Catherine. Thank you for coming this evening. I have one question for you. What do you see your role is as a planning commissioner?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
What do you see your role is as a planning commissioner?
As mentioned in my application, I believe the voice of the residents is always important. So I feel like my interest is always going to be what's the best interest for the residents. So I feel like my role would be to further develop this plan and continue to see the city grow.
Thank you.
Councilman Corona?
Yeah. So I do want to give a big congratulations for graduating this week. That's a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
With your experience here in the city of Paris, growing up here, what are some of the most important needs with planning in our city?
I feel like as mentioned in my application, I think there needs to be more city involvement for the youth. Because growing up, I felt like I always went to Moreno Valley or Riverside because that's what always had everything going on, the bowling, the mall. So I feel what's important is to try to convince the youth to come back and get more involved and put more money back into our city.
Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much, and congratulations once again. That's a tremendous feat. So we're really proud of you, and thank you for coming back and your willingness to serve our community. That's big, and we definitely need to highlight that, right, from our youth.
Thank you.
One of my questions is, you've been living in the city of Paris since you were 5 years old. I read in your application. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and do you still have a lot of family here in the city of Paris?
Yeah, I have aunts, uncles. My brother just had a nephew, so they're all like around in the city of Paris, and that's why I want to give back to the community because this is where they're going to be, and my parents plan on staying in this town.
Okay, great. That leads me to my next question. As far as you mentioning your parents wanted to stay in this town, this is a 4-year-long term. Are you committed and ready and willing to serve if you are appointed?
Yes.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so both my questions were answered with the other council, but that was my main thing was I wanted to know what your schedule was like and if it was going to be difficult for you to make your 2 meetings. You usually meet 2 meetings a month.
Yes.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next one.
Guadalupe Gomez.
Thank you. Should I just go ahead and start?
Yeah, bring your microphone up a little bit. There you go.
Honorable Mayor Vargas and the council members, thank you so much for having me here today. I believe the nervousness comes from caring so much about an opportunity to be able to be more involved in the community. My name is Guadalupe Gomez. I've been a resident with the city of Paris for over 20 years. We purchased our first home here in the city of Paris in 2008. It was our first home, and we were a small family. I remember having our son, and then in that home that we purchased here in northern Paris, we grew into a family of 5. And I was able to see at the time how the city was growing. And I myself have grown with the city because I was an adult student going back to college, and I received my bachelor's degree in sociology at the University of California, Riverside. And then I went on to get my master's in business administration at the University of Redlands. I feel I have very strong ties to the city of Paris. I have made it a personal goal to be very involved with the youth in the city of Paris, and I have partnered up along with a nonprofit, the Association of Professionals and Students. It's a nonprofit organization that is very close to my heart because it also motivated me to go back to college and get my higher education. That same nonprofit has partnered up with the community center here at the city of Paris, and we launched a youth civic workshop back in 2018, 2019. And I would like to continue that now that the pandemic has pretty much gotten a bit under control. But I know that the city has so much potential. I'm very invested in the city to say that when we were able to sell our home and we purchased another home, we looked in the surrounding cities, but our heart always came back to the city of Paris. We ended up purchasing our second home in an adjacent community to the old house where we used to live. And so we didn't have to move our children. We didn't have to move our parents. My values are here. I go to church here. I shop as much as I can here. And my children go to school here. And I'm very proud of the Val Verde Unified School District, which is the one that services our schools and our children. I have a very strong community ties with the teachers who are involved. And I hope to continue to keep that involvement and that dedication to our community.
Good. Thank you. Okay, Council, any questions? Councilwoman Rogers?
Good evening, Guadalupe. If you are selected, what would you first like to do as a planning commissioner?
As planning commissioner, I'd like to understand what the current goals of the commission are. What are the current goals in place? I understand that this is going on, was a 3-year term and is now turning into a 4-year term position. And I would like to know what the current commissioners have in plan for those 4 years. And at that point, add my values or my goals for the city. I understand that we need multifamily living here in the city of Paris. We have a large need for retail stores that our city has grown so much, and we're no longer in the need of convenience stores, although we do use them, but we also need what our residents are asking for, right? And we hear so much that they want that Target. I myself want a Target, but why don't we have one? So let's find a solution, right? We hear it's easy to point out the negatives or the needs, but it's harder to come up with a solution. And for me, my goal is to be able to come together and partner up to bring those solutions to the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And same question for me is just scheduling wise. They meet twice a month. Is there going to be an issue with you attending both meetings on a monthly basis?
No, there is no conflict with, actually, I was mentioning to one of the members here is that we're both, my husband and I work from home. And so technically we work here in the city of Paris as well. And so we understand my husband's very supportive, my family's very supportive, so I will be here.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else in the queue. Thank you very much. We're good, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Elizabeth Jimenez.
Mayor Vargas, council members, staff, thank you for having this opportunity for me to reapply. It's been a fun, amazing 2 years of learning. We've had some learning curves, but it has been great serving the city so far as a planning commissioner. I'm a teacher here in the city. I work at Avalon. I worked there. I originally started my contact with the district as a parent volunteer. I was on PTO, school site council, ELAC, DLAC, district advisory committee, anything that pertained. I was a stay-at-home mom, so any opportunity that arose for me to be able to participate and learn, I attended. I obtained a position as a business manager for a nonprofit, the California Association for Bilingual Education, and I did that for 4 years. And I realized as my girls were getting older, it was taking me an hour and a half to get there, an hour and a half back. I retired from that position, and a teaching position opened up. I applied and I obtained it. And I continued as a teacher my involvement with PTO, school site council, ELAC. I continued all my same networking, and I still stay very closely connected to our community. Then when the planning commissioner position opened up, I had intended to apply before. I hadn't because of my schedule. I traveled a lot, it was far, but once I obtained a teaching position, it became a lot more accessible, and I always like being involved. My daughters attend school here, one's gonna go on to Lakeside, the other one's at Rancho, so I've been part of the city's parade, the Christmas parade, now as a parent, cheering my kids on from the sidelines, and one time I dragged my little one along with me to parade with me. But I feel like I've learned a lot from the Commissioner Hammond and Chair Shively. Just their guidance has really prepared me to, in these 2 years, be prepared to do so much more in the next 4 years. Reading every single piece of document that comes through, looking at all those plans is no easy task, but I do it faithfully, and I do it because I really want to do what's best for our city. I feel like maybe I've had a little magic touch in beautifying our city a little bit, and I want to continue doing that, just continuing that growth, and really making sure that our city represents its residents, its community. I'm very much advocating for more affordable housing. Again, with that, more affordable housing, more houses, we need more stores. So kind of working our way to make sure that everybody's needs are met. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Mayor Pro Tem Rab?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jimenez. What do you think has been the biggest difference from what you expected your role as a planning commissioner would be when you first were appointed to how it's actually been serving over the last few years?
Very good question. I think it evolved a lot with learning about the guidelines, limitations, with learning about zoning, learning about how there are things that we are not restricted to, but it limits what we want to do. So I think that has been the biggest wake-up call for me, was the amount of impact that we have is a lot more once we're thinking about how to beautify it, how to make it better, how to make it more accessible for our residents. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rogers?
Elizabeth, now that you've got 2 years under your belt as a planning commissioner, what do you think was the most important thing you learned in that 2-year time period?
I think the most important thing I learned was really how to look through the fine print and making sure that things are up to code, making sure that things are streamlined, that everything on page 2 matches everything on page 65, and really going through things with like a fine-tooth comb, making notes and learning how to look for those key items.
Thank you.
Councilman Corona?
Thank you. Question for Commissioner Jimenez. First I want to say thank you for serving the last 2 years,
Thank
and a big appreciation for wanting to possibly serve another 4 years.
Thank you.
I've been watching the meetings, and from where you started to just a few months later, it seemed like you kind of learned very quickly. What were some of the challenges that the commission kind of faces right now that you kind of wish to address in your next, if you were to be appointed in your next term?
I think continuing the work that we've done with really having more affordable housing. I think it's a good entryway for our community members coming in. As a previous interviewer said, she's young, and we want to keep that youth here. They have very valuable things that they can bring to our community, but we also have an aging community that also maybe wants to downsize. So having affordable housing and multiple options within our city is also going to expand our knowledge base, going to expand our professionals within the city. So I feel like that's something that I would like to continue, is looking at that more affordable housing and multi-leveled housing.
Okay, thank you. And then, I think my next question, I think Mayor Pro Tem Rab already asked, but if you were to describe in maybe 1 or 2 sentences what the planning commissioner does, or what your role is, can you describe it in 1 or 2 sentences?
I think our main role is looking at upcoming developments, really going through them, fine-tooth combing them, making sure that they're aligned to the city guidelines, the specific plan that we have for the city, and making sure that those two are match, but we also kind of take it to the next level and make sure that it's higher standards than what we have. And I think we've done a great job of doing that. We're, especially with green space, I think that's a hurdle that we've kind of raised the bar on that one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Alva?
Thank you, Mayor. So all my questions have been answered at this point, but I just really want to thank you for your 2 years of service so far. Like you mentioned, it is a lot of work, and it obviously has to come from a serving heart because we know why. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work for the stipend that comes along with it. So I commend you for that, of course. And then I also appreciate that you come to the meetings very prepared and you ask several questions, which I think it's one of the key components to being a commissioner is to be able to ask questions, to know it's on the meeting, of course, and just to serve from your perspective. I think it's really important, and we all come with our own paradigms and thoughts and ideas. So I don't have any questions for you, just some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know what's left after hearing all these questions already.
I know your question. Yes, I will be available for.
So I changed that one on you.
Oh, okay.
So my question to you, and it has not been asked, and that is, were you offered any training by the city as far as being a planner?
I was.
And-
Unfortunately, the pandemic hit like the weekend right before the conference up in Sacramento. But I was offered training, and I was very happy to try to take it. So I'm looking forward, if I am appointed again, to get that training. One of the main trainings so far without that has been kind of the guidance of Commissioner Hammond and Chair Shively.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Christopher M. Kimmins.
Good evening. That was really low. Christopher Kimmis, thank you for having me here tonight. So my wife and I have lived here in Paris for 10 years. I grew up in the Midwest, Minnesota. My dad was on the city council for 11 years, and then on the planning commission for 5. I'm very familiar with what that entails and the amount of dedication and work that goes into that and commitment. My background is in real estate, finance, development. I worked for Colliers Commercial Real Estate in Seattle. I went over a lot of RFPs, proposals. I know a lot about development, zoning, land use, projections. I worked in the banking side for a while. I'm versed with, looking at income statements, balance sheets, projections. Why would somebody want to, come here, stay here? My interest really in all of this is helping this community that I've been here for 10 years, not as long as many of you, but I see so much potential, and I often get frustrated. It's like we want to go out at night, and we want to go have dinner someplace. I don't want to leave the city for selfish reasons. I want to stay here. It's closer, it's convenient. And I think when we go someplace else out to eat, that city is gaining the revenues and we lose it. And I think it's an opportunity for improvement for sure. I think all of us, have mentioned about improving, shopping and things like this. But I really think it's important for us to, look at opportunities for business owners who want to, own businesses here. We already have a sense of pride. Hardworking people. We want to have businesses. We should foster that, encourage it. I think getting a general consensus and getting people to collaborate and to understand, where the city is at, where we're going, where we want to go, and getting people involved and making them feel like there's a vested interest to get involved in the community. I think that my background would lend well. I've got, availability. I am busy. I do own a business, and I'm fully employed as a senior regional consultant with the solar company. So I'm 60, 70 hours a week, but I need to give back. My education and background, I think, would lend itself very well to the opportunity.
Great, thank you. Council? Councilwoman Rogers?
Yes, Christopher, thank you for coming today. If you are selected, what would you first like to do as a new planning commissioner?
First, I would really like to understand where we're at and what the general direction is right now. I've read through the 220-some page, general plan. It's interesting to read through that to get some insight. But really just to, before I have anything to offer, really understand where we're at, what the general consensus is, where we want to go. And then, of course, give some ideas to, how I think we can improve the land use and offer businesses an opportunity to grow and flourish here.
Thank you.
Councilman Corona?
Yes, quick, just a real quick question. What part geographically in Paris are you located?
Over next to Remote Expressway.
Okay, in the North Paris? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the same question, and I have a follow-up one. You don't have a conflict with attending 2 meetings a month?
No, not at all.
Okay. And you sound like a pretty busy guy. There will be some training involved. Would you have any issues of being able to attend a conference out?
No, not at all. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's it. Madam Clerk?
Isaac Lopez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Isaac Lopez. Very quickly, I want to give a congratulations to Clara Miramontes for your appointment as a city manager. And I want to give a big thank you to Nancy Salazar for serving as our city clerk. I moved out here about 13 years ago, year 2008. I was in elementary school at that time. I attended Valverde Elementary, Lakeside Middle School, and Rancho Verde High School. At Rancho, I served as a senior class president for the graduating class of 2016. There, I was able to push for involvement in the senior class and making sure that they're doing what they got to do as far as graduation requirements and senior activities. Since then, I pursued a career in barbering. I started as an independent. I'm starting as an independent barber at home, and now I'm pushing for a license in barbering for right here at Legacy Barbershop, where I'm getting my hours for my license. Now at the same time, I am working at Valverde Unified School District at Sierra Vista Elementary. I am working as a avid tutor. So I've been there for 3 years. I'm trying to push for 4 years right now. I'm also sitting at the board of RCYD. RCYD is a nonprofit organization which pushes for youth involvement in the democratic process. Well, we provide the youth with resources and information on supporting candidates or bills of their favor. I'm also studying at MSJC right here down the road, political science. If I get appointed as a commissioner, I could promise you that I will always put the residents first. I will put the interest of the residents first. I will try my best to learn whatever I need to learn, and I will think of the longevity of the city versus short-term gain. So, for example, seeing how things will be 10, 20 years from now. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councilwoman Rogers?
Thank you for coming, Isaac. In your application, you mentioned encouraging positive growth to the city. Can you explain what you meant by positive growth?
Yes, of course. What I envision is I really want community involvement. So something like parks, walkways. I mentioned the walkway in my application. I really want something that that can make sure that the community can be involved with. Let's say like restaurants, shopping centers. What else? Anything that will give the residents something to do, something where they could recreational things, maybe like a bowling alley, more improve on the movie theater. Yeah, pretty much anything that people could enjoy themselves, enjoy their time with their family here, and yeah, pretty much that.
Anybody else? Councilwoman Corona?
Okay, I want to give you a big appreciation for coming out and applying as well. Just quick question. My first question is, what part of Paris do you live geographically?
I live on mostly on the north end. I live north of Citrus Avenue, Nuevo Road,
Okay.
and then east of Wilson and Redlands.
Oh, so kind of in the center. Well, the
Yes.
north center.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then I saw in your application you mentioned the about kind of the encroachment of industrial development getting too close to homes.
Yes.
How would you condition some of the projects to minimize their effects to the nearby homes?
I would for sure look into the zoning of the city. Maybe if it's possible, try to relocate things. I noticed that because I run through that path between Nuevo and Ramona all the time. I'm currently training right now for a race at the end of the year, and I noticed that there have been more warehouses being developed currently. It's me personally. It's not something I'm favored for, but I think mitigating the damage on traffic control and beautification, seeing where things are located and how things look, as far as if it's gonna be next to a residence or next to a park. I understand that warehouses are an important part of the income for the city. So I feel like we just gotta weigh out the options. Yeah, so pretty much looking where the zoning is, and if possible, talking to the residents and getting their opinions on what their preference is.
Okay. And then for it's kind of a two-part question. I can kind of see you're kind of in the younger population.
Yes.
How would you see that as a strength? And then also, it's knowing that it's a 4-year term, do you plan on staying here for a full 4 years, or do you plan on, making changes in your own life as young people
Yeah,
often do?
of course. Honestly, I see my future here in the city. That's one of the reasons why I do want to apply for planning commission. Is I see my future here. I want to raise my kids here, my family. I want them to be here. I have my grandparents here, my uncles, my aunts. They all live here as well. And as far as my age, I feel like, especially my career in barbering, I talked to a variety of age groups. The youngest ones being 1-2 years old, clients, and then I have clientele that are in their 60s and 70s. I feel like
I've been around the 60s and 70s, young man.
yes, and I feel like people can connect to me like as a barber, and especially people my age. I feel like there's a lack of involvement in the city for my generation. Sometimes, so I feel like people will be easier to connect with someone my age, like me, for example. As far as concerns or any information they're trying to reach out for, I feel like they'll be comfortable to reach out for someone like me, saying, "Oh, Isaac, I have a question on this. What do you think?" And I can point them in the right direction for that.
Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much for applying. Like I mentioned, it's really important to have all folks apply and be involved in every facet that they can within their city.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask another question. One area that you haven't mentioned that you would really like to focus on if appointed as a planning commissioner, what would that be?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
So if you were appointed as a planning commissioner, Feel
Yes.
free to share any top priority or area of improvements that you haven't yet mentioned during your interview that you would like to specifically focus on.
Area of improvements. I would say city beautification for sure. I would say I think a lot of the newer projects have been pretty well done. I saw that park on Citrus Avenue, the basketball court. I feel that was a great addition to the city. Yeah, I feel like it will bring up the value of the city for sure, making sure that things are up to par and they're all connected, basically all looking similar. And I would want to add more vegetation for sure, more vegetation, more trees, more bushes, you know. Yeah, so basically more like more the aesthetic of the city for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's it. My last question would be, again, is you'll have no problem attending 2 meetings a month?
Not at all.
Okay, your barber shop doesn't stay open late?
I make my own hours, so if I need a call off, I could do
Good.
that.
So I asked that with everybody. You can sit down. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
It's an important question, folks, because it's in a very important position, and it really requires you to be in attendance. There's no sense in being on a commission if you're not going to be able to make to the meeting. So I know it may be a simple, basic question, but it's actually a very important one. So, okay, so that wraps that up. Madam Clerk, if you would please pass out the ballots to each of the council members. We will choose the candidates that we like best. We'll give them back to our city clerk, and then she'll present them to the city attorney, and he'll do the counting.
So we're doing put in check or exit?
I guess just a check mark at each,
So not numbered.
no numbers. Just check mark the top three you like. And don't forget to put your name on it, too.
Round one.
Oh, round one. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I really do appreciate your vested interest in serving in the community, and the council gave some really good questions out there, and got a good batch of candidates this time, so it's kind of tough to decide who we want in there. You all would be good, qualified candidates. If you're not selected, don't let that put you down. Come back again when more positions open. You may have another opportunity again.
Mayor and members of the council, there actually have tallied the nominations here, the votes, if you will. There is no private or secret ballots, so I have to announce what each council member put on theirs, but I will say that there are 3 members who have at least 4 votes, 3 candidates who have at least 4 votes, so this round 1 will be it, assuming the mayor nominates and the council ratifies. Mayor Vargas selected Ms. Gomez, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Kimmis. Councilman Rogers, Ms. Gomez, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Lopez. Councilmember Corona, Ms. Gomez, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Rab, Ms. Gomez, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Lopez. And Councilman Nava, Ms. Espinoza, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Lopez. So, by my count, Ms. Gomez had 4 selections, Ms. Jimenez had 5, and Mr. Lopez had 4. And the others had 1 each.
Okay, thank you very much for tallying those up. As I indicated in the very beginning, I do this in a democracy way. We have, it's pretty much fair across the board that I have each council person vote on who they like, and then we tally them up, and that's what it is. So that being said, I'm going to propose that we nominate, appoint Mr. Gomez, Mrs. Gomez, right? Mrs. Jimenez and Mr. Lopez. That's my nomination, and if I can have a second. Okay, so Councilwoman Nava has motioned, and second by Councilwoman Rogers. You call a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Councilmember Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas,
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Very good, thank you. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out and giving your vested time. And please do come back again when more seats become open. This is an ongoing thing. Some are on for 4 years, some are on for 2 years, so there'll be openings again. With that, item 5 is our adjournment. Thank everyone for coming out, and we'll be coming back in about 5 minutes.